Hi everyone, Bandanner here. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at Godsworn, which has just come out in early access, a classic mythological RTS, and many thanks to the dev team Thunderoak Interactive for the key. What does it say on the Steam page? Well, it says experience an epic fantasy retelling of the Northern Crusades where pagan gods and their tribes clash against crusaders and the armies of heaven. I would describe the game as Warcraft 3 meets Age of Mythology, which is a nice concept for a game, to be honest. Currently the game has a short fully voiced campaign with more missions to come, which can be played in 2-player co-op as well. It also has a skirmish mode, as you might expect, with some dedicated defense challenge maps and of course multiplayer. The story, as per the Steam page, is the wild pagan lands have been under the watchful eye of the gods for as long as time. The arrival of a knight order bearing the banner of heaven threatens to upset the uneasy alliance between the gods. Will the realm burn, or will the blood, both divine and mortal, be spilled to protect it? The gameplay outline is that there are two factions, the Baltic Pagans and the Order. Each has its own unique building style and each has a tech tree, and then within these each faction has its own divine beings or gods. Currently the Baltics have 3 and the Order has just 1, but obviously there are plans to add more. Each divine has its own unique upgrades, giving you all manner of spells and abilities to unleash on your enemies or indeed your allies. They all have rather different playstyles, and you'll definitely find one that suits you better. Both of the factions have about 10 to 15 units with some variation within them as well, depending on the divine taken. And on top of that, some of the divines actually get summon spells to bring in other units. As with many of the older classic base building RTS games, you have a town centre, or shrine in this case, which you must protect at all costs. Your divine can die and will respawn here. Villagers, or perhaps worshippers is a better term for them, will gather wood, food and gold for you, as you will find in most classic RTS games. But there is also the addition of faith, which is gathered by villagers praying at the shrine. Faith is a resource used for casting spells and abilities, and also pays for a wide range of upgrades for your units and buildings. The resource system as it is right now, I find it a little bit hard to manage at times compared to the likes of Age of Empires, though I suspect this comes down to perhaps knowing an exact build order. Villagers also can't just take resources back to the shrine like you can in other games. Here you must build the resource building, which technically means if you lose all of your woodcutters to the enemy, you could end up being backed into a corner and it would pretty much be game over. So you really need to protect your base, or they need to make an adjustment there where your first woodcutter is free. Combat, like any classic RTS game, has an element of rock, paper, scissors, as you might expect, though units with magical abilities can change this up quite a bit. The enemy AI in the campaign, for example, like to spam casters who threw fireballs, which seem to do massive damage to absolutely everything. Some units do have their own abilities that can be activated, so there will be an element of finer micro in multiplayer. Regarding the AI, by the way, it is not bad in general, pretty standard from what I would expect from one of these classic RTS games. I will note the enemy AI in the campaign seemed weirdly a lot stronger than my allied AI, which takes the place of your co-op partner if you aren't in multiplayer. In the final mission, for example, I found myself getting attacked from multiple angles, having to defend myself, and then having to rush to defend my allied AI because they were both struggling, which meant that it was very rare I was able to try and attack the enemy to try and complete the objectives. In terms of the sound, the game has very good music. The voice acting is very good as well. I really enjoyed that through the campaign. Combat sounds are okay, pretty much what you would expect from this type of game. I really do like the graphical style. It does have that sort of classic RTS look to it. Some of the abilities certainly, however, looked better than others. For example, there was one where you dropped stars from the sky that, I'll be honest, looked a little bit silly compared to some of the other abilities which looked a little bit more sensible. Which obviously sounds a little bit weird when I'm talking about casting spells in general, but you know what I mean. Some just look better than others. Overall, I think this early access release is a good start for the game, hopefully allowing the small development team to get some feedback and make adjustments. I really enjoyed the campaign so far. It is very much a classic style of campaign, and I quite enjoyed that, as not many games have that standard Warcraft / Age of Empires style story campaign anymore. Plus the fact that it's planned as co-op from the outset is a nice touch. I will note the game does need work. It is early access after all. I didn't encounter too many bugs myself. Controls felt a little bit clunky at times. The guard range of units needs to be looked at, as more than once I found some of my units had chased the enemy all the way to their base and got slaughtered. So there's certainly little bits and pieces that need to be adjusted while they're adding more content. However, all of that said, if you're a fan of classic RTS games such as Warcraft 3 and Age of Empires, this is likely to be worth a look. Its early access pricing is £24.99, though right now there is 10% off till early April, so it comes in at £22.49. I will say you are definitely paying to support development here, and obviously with the expectation that more content will be added. As ever, I don't tell people to buy early access games. The decision has to be yours, though they certainly have a good foundation, though I knowingly accept that I say that about a lot of early access games, because that's all I really can say. They're not finished. Sadly, there doesn't appear to be a demo for the game currently, which I do think is a shame. They did have one previously. I think it would have been nice if they'd left that in, just so people could have a little taste of the game before putting the money down. But I shall leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe as always, and I'll see you all soon.